Yeah.
One of them's going off the chain right now, which is saying it's something because the boys are already off the chain.
Yeah.
They're off the island now.
Yeah.
They're off.
To say the least.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Funny. Well, shit, I guess we get rolling here.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of More Than Tattoos. My name's Chris. This is Tim, and we have a special guest with us here tonight. We have a tattoo convention coming up here soon in the Dayton area. It's Cyan Tattoo Invitational, and we got Josh Wiley here tonight. He's the one who runs and heads the whole operation, and we want to talk a little bit about that. Try to put that on the map, let you guys know about it. We'd love to help build the crowd and push the event. Last year it was an awesome show. A lot of quality artists out. I feel like it was ran real well, and I would like to see Dayton have something where every year, artists can just come throw down. So he's got an awesome family. He's got an awesome shop. I think he does tattoo shop. He's got a hair salon with his wife.
Beauty salon. A little bit of everything, yeah.
And then you also do you have businesses outside of that, if I'm not mistaken.
I used to own a car lot. I've got rid of that. That's gone now, yeah.
Okay.
Different streams of revenue.
I was gonna say, but now you've moved into muscle cars, like.
Oh, dude, I've been into cars my whole life. Yeah. I've been building that Mustang that I've got for like 7 years now. That thing's a monster. I was like, if it was nice now, I'd drive it here.
Yeah.
So it's shitty weather.
I've always liked cars, but I don't know shit about them.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, I can change like belts. I can change tires, oil, all this shit, spark plugs. But once we start talking about like alternators getting taken out and shit, I'm good, dog.
Like I'm tapping out.
Right.
I used to work on my own cars way back before I had kids and all that stuff. Now I'd take my car to somebody else. I'm like, I want a professional doing this so I don't blow it up.
That's what I'm saying. Like, these hands can't afford no cuts and bruises. You know what I'm saying?
Because
like,
every time you get into an engine, you're getting like some kind of gash, or you're even changing a tire, you're gonna ram your fucking hand in the ground, getting that iron tire.
It's always something. Or they just get gross looking, and you can't get them clean enough. And your customers see your gross hands, like your clients are looking at you like,
oh yeah,
you're about to touch me with those things,
right?
Yeah.
Nah.
Oh, that's like one of my biggest pet peeves. Is like it. Yeah, if like one of the apprentices at the shop, or like I just happen to notice like dirty nails.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, oh god. And they're like, let me talk to you over here for a second. Like, like what are you doing?
Let me get you away from everybody else quickly.
I
used to have a guy that worked in my studio for a little bit, and he would smoke, and then his fingers would just be that tar color.
Oh yeah.
Just and I was like, dude, we got to work on that. We got to figure that out.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if you got to wear gloves, use a little clip, I don't know, something.
But
you can't be coming in here all red like that.
Yeah.
Like, gross looking.
Or just really long nails.
Yeah.
Nails in general I've always been weird about.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They harbor bacteria, and you're literally touching them to a client. And the stuff that comes in contact with the client.
Yeah.
Be clean, man. Be clean.
Yeah, I feel like that it definitely says a lot. If clients do notice that. Even like purple stencil shit, because that's been under my nails plenty of times.
And on your face.
God.
Yeah. You wear that stuff. It's like a fashion statement.
Right.
Really, though? That stuff's a fucking nightmare.
Tim, like the first 2-3 years of his job, every day he was, because I would use that Spirit stencil paper, and that's way more dusty and just like
flakes off real bad.
Yeah, way more than like the Eco Tank, the Epson printer. That's what we use.
That's what you guys use now?
Yeah, and it doesn't really make a mess unless you touch it with your fingers, but even then it's a minimal.
Right.
But God, dude, that's Spirit paper. You like,
it's gotten worse over the years too. The last couple of years, it's so bad now. Every time I do a stencil, like a print one off of using that paper, I got to take like masking tape or something and peel it all off, because it'll just be like a disaster.
Yeah.
My current apprentice, every day, I don't know how, she won't even come near the stencil stuff, and she'll have purple like all over her face. I'm like, how'd you weren't even in the room?
Dude, it's a nightmare. But for anyone that's listening, or if you don't know about this, I've over the years concocted a masterful chemical that removes
slightly
stencil.
Dangerous.
Yes.
Okay. Combustible.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's got potential. Let me say that. You take like the bathroom cleaner gel. I
already am not interested. Okay.
Right. And then you take, I think, 70% isopropyl, and what was the last thing? It's like one other thing. Ah, fuck. I think it might be green soap. If you combine like those things, it will remove stencil perfectly.
That's mad scientist stuff.
With ease. And
Okay.
well, you have to use a magic eraser though. And it might take drywall off.
Oh, you mean not off your skin?
No, like on like
because that's why I was like, I'm out. You lost me on
Oh,
first
you just
ingredient.
gotta wash your hands for like 3 weeks to get that shit off.
No,
Alcohol, but
so sorry for a plug. I'm sponsored by Electrum.
Sure.
Electrum has a stencil remover product. It's got like, it smells like tea tree oil, but I don't think there's any in it. But I use that stuff. It's in a spray and it comes right off. It pulls stencil right off. Yeah, it's glorious
off
stuff.
skin, desks,
Yeah.
any surface.
They call it stencil repositioner.
Yeah.
But it's like you can get it off everything. I've never gotten
I
it
think
on
I've seen the videos where people like spray it and just like watch it run down the arm.
Disagree. Yeah. Yeah. I love that stuff, but man, you scared the shit out of me with the he said toilet cleaner gel. I was like, nope.
He's cleaning it. I'm like, just don't tell me. You just handle it. Don't tell me what's in it.
No, if you're cleaning like a surface, I'm on board with that.
I think the biggest mess I ever seen Tim handle or make or deal with.
it was all of the above.
Well, I was gonna say putting the inkjet ink into the new printer we got.
Mhm.
Oh, like squirting the liquid in.
Yeah,
Like,
so
it was
like,
a nice
please tell me you spilled it.
I did.
everywhere.
Oh, that's glorious.
And there's no tutorial for this. And on top of this, we have this like nice countertop that's like made of wood. It's kind of like barn-esque, so it's like really nice wood, like out off a log.
Yeah,
and it
real
all
thick,
drained
Like
on
lime
this.
edge kind of thing.
Dude,
Like, okay.
yes, and it was like real done up, nice finish on it. It spilled all over this thing. I'm sitting there cleaning it up, and it like turned it purple for a second, and then it turned green.
Oh, what?
Like turned wood green. Like what the fuck?
How do you go from purple to green, too? That's
I don't
like,
even
what?
know.
What weird chemistry and nature is this shit?
No idea, man. But there's no tutorial for that shit.
Yeah.
We got that information off of fucking London Reese, and we're like, fuck it. Like we're gonna do it, dude. We're just gonna do it.
Good luck to us.
And of course, those Epson printers with like the ink, they got this like super particular like you press the cap into it and it like will fucking push a ball up and release the ink shit.
Like some high tech weird.
Dude, we wasn't
engineering.
fucking with nothing like that. Like we just like tried pouring it in. It was like it's not working. Like, and then lo and behold, we like tilted the printer a little bit and it all just started running out of it. Like it was just building up, not even going in the tank.
That's brutal.
Speaking of Electrum, though, you use the Dermer?
No. Please don't make me say this on podcast.
Okay.
I've been using Sanoderm for almost a decade now.
Yeah.
About almost as long as I've been using Electrum. I was using Electrum before it was called Electrum. But it was used to be called Kryptonite. And he had to change the name because that's DC comic.
Gotcha.
And they were like, you can't use that. And he was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, you don't want to go to battle with them.
No.
Right.
All they did was be like, hey, man, just don't use our name. That's it. And he was like, deal.
Yeah.
You know, he was super cool about it. But he just, changed it. But right around that same time frame, I started using Sanoderm. And I like the product. A few people have minor issues with it, and I get that. But I use the Dermer, and it is a good product. It just doesn't do things the way I like it. Like it doesn't work the same.
Yeah.
So I'm very big on standing by a product by trying it, and that's why I love Electrum. Sure. But everybody's gonna have a couple of products here and there that you're like, not that one for me. Yeah. I love their ink.
Yeah.
I love their ink.
Yeah, that's the only product of theirs I've really used. I think that a while back I got some of their stencil stuff, but I was using Dettol at the time.
Matt used to use that stuff. Yeah,
with the spirit paper, and I mean it worked wonderful. Then we switched to the Epson printer for stencils, and I was kind of experimenting with some different brands, and ended up going with this like homemade brand that we make. Dylan makes it.
He was telling me about it.
Yeah, it works really well. I mean,
I think it comes out kind of light, at least on his.
Well,
his came out kind of light.
So I used the Ghostline printer app.
Okay.
And they have an option to increase like the darkness of it.
Okay.
So as you're printing it, you just darken it, and it makes it heavier. But there is also some different levels and different batches that have done worse, and some have been better. But we've kind of got it down to where it's fairly tacky.
Okay.
And the stencils last. I mean, they just stay on the whole time.
Nice.
As long as so that's what I've been using. I know that I've wanted to recently buy more. I know that like Nico, the anchored stencil.
Yeah.
So there's still a handful that I haven't tried. And in a perfect world, if I could just order it, buy it, and have like for sure the same every time, what I'd like to do. But we've been using the homemade stuff.
The homemade stuff. I used to use. What's funny you say that because Nico used to tell people to make their own product. He would melt speed stick in a microwave.
Yeah.
Add a little bit of green soap, a little bit of alcohol, mix it together, and that was your product. And that worked for a while. Like I was using that. This is 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Before that sounds horrible to put on people.
Yeah.
Just straight up speed stick. Yeah, man. Melt in the microwave. Sounds legit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, he was telling people this is what I use. And I started using it. And I was like, man, this stuff does work pretty decent.
Yeah.
And then I ran into Electrum and started using their product. And I was like, this stuff's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like that stuff, I'll do an 8-hour tattoo and it's still there. And I'm trying to scrub it off the tattoo, killing my client. Like it's still sitting there.
Like, I need the photos. I need this to come off.
Like, hey, listen, how much would you hate alcohol right now?
Right. That's awesome, man. So what you got going on, man? What's on your plate with getting the show ready?
Everything.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I was talking about running a convention for, I don't know, 6 years, 7 years before I ever actually decided to do it. And then I started going to Evergreen. And Evergreen is basically how I modeled my show. For anybody that doesn't know, Evergreen's an amazing show. It's my favorite one. You've been there.
Yeah.
You've been with them?
Right.
Yeah. So they have like the VIP room, but they cater to the artists. And I'd rather it be more about the artists than say the public or the clients, which is where a villain art show caters to like drawing people in the door. They have all their side shows, all the acts to keep people busy. And I appreciate that. They draw in a ridiculous crowd, but I like it when you're focusing on the artists because they are the show. You don't want people wandering off. You want everybody paying attention to the artist. So I always swore if I ever did my own show, that's it. Just art. We are doing a beer competition though this year. It's for charity. I kind of agreed to that. Like, it's something on Saturday. It's like 2 hours long.
Yeah.
It's not drawing a bunch of people away. I really don't want to do that.
Well, I feel like it fits the vibe,
Yeah. Tattoos and beards. I mean, you guys both got some heavy duty beards.
I saw that and I was like, man, I wish. I'd get destroyed by some of those dudes you had photos of.
They have length, though. They have like the short, it's like 1 to 6 inches. I don't know anything about it.
Oh, shit, for real?
Yeah, it's like 1 to 6 inches, and then from 6 to certain number, and it's like length. Then there's
So
like
it's
the
like weight
freestyle.
classes.
Yeah, they got like different everything. It's crazy.
Man.
I'm not entering in
That's
any
wild.
of it. This is as good as it gets for me.
I grew up with my great grandfather, and he always had the fucking curly stash.
Yeah.
At one point, I thought I might try it, but Katie was like, "Nah."
Well, dude, I think it's like an age thing because once you surpass like 45, maybe you would nail that and like murder it.
Yeah. So I think it's also your willingness to live with it because you're gonna get people looking at you like, "What's with the handlebars, man?"
Yeah.
Or the French twist, or what's that called? The French thing, what you were talking about, where they curl it.
I don't know what it's called. I just remember like the fucking stash of VO5 that we always had. My grandpa lived and died by the VO5.
Oh,
man.
VO5 hot oil. Yeah, all that stuff. I remember that stuff. Yeah. I can't do fancy beards anymore. I used to do like the cut designs and like and I was like, dude, that's starting to get old. I'm just, all right, I went through that phase. I'm out.
Yeah.
Just keep it clean.
Yeah.
I can't do beards like you guys. I've tried and I'm like, oh, it's killing me.
Oh, dude, it's a pain in the ass with just like having like calyx and shit. When it gets to this point, it's been driving me nuts lately.
Like where it starts curling outward and just gets in the way of everything.
Yeah, I got 2 curls right here on the edges that like instead of going down, they curl up and out. So it's like super hard to cut and trim and always fucking gets wonky.
I gotta say, you go to Joy, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, she does a great job on your beard.
Thanks.
Really good job.
She
on
would
your
be
beard.
stoked to hear that. I think she's bummed that I haven't like shouted her out on Instagram yet. Honestly.
Yeah,
I feel kind of bad about it. But,
No,
so
there you
Joy,
go.
here's your plug.
Right.
There you go.
I will clip this one exact part.
Beards and Bows, Springfield, Ohio.
There you go.
Get with Joy.
Pin dropped. You
Joy
are now.
Atwood.
You've been shouted out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, dude, like, how did you even want to start a show? Like, how did that come about? Or maybe a better question is, how did you actually pull the trigger and you're like, now's the time?
Honestly, so I don't like doing just one thing. Like some people can zero in on a thing and do it extremely well, and they do that one thing and they're laser focused and that's it. I have like self-diagnosed ADHD or something where I just need to focus on 783 things at once, or I don't feel like I'm accomplishing anything. So I was like, what else can I do that's in the tattoo industry that's not tattoos? Obviously I already own a business, a tattoo studio. And then I was like, maybe a supply company. There isn't one in Dayton, but there's one in Columbus, Bickney. I was like, I really want to compete with them. That's not cool. They're really close. I don't want to try something like that. Plus the inventory alone blows my mind. I don't even want to try. So I was like, what about like a convention? And then I started really seriously considering it when I started going to Evergreen, like I was saying, because the way they treat their people and they actually give a shit about the artists. I was like, man, Dayton doesn't have anything like that. And then right about the same time I started thinking about it, Troy did one in Cincinnati. I was like, damn it. You're like right down the street now. So I got to make sure I keep mine far apart. I don't want to, I don't like to overlap. I don't like to mess with Derb Show, Hell City. I don't like to, compete like that. It took me 3 or 4 years to finally, to answer your question, Hope Sweeney, the Youngstown show. Have you guys ever been there?
Yeah, first year it happened. Okay. I attended it.
So that girl, she's amazing. I love her. She had her own show. I think she was 26 years old. I was like, fuck off. You know what I mean? Like, how you gonna be 26 years old and be this kind of a badass and just pull the trigger, do your, like you say. And I was like, man, that's it. I gotta do it. Like, if she can do it, I know I can do it. Like, come on. She's a badass. I should already have this shit figured out by now. So a lot of it's that, oh no, what if I screw it up? But I was like, man, if I just have one good person involved with me and my partner in this, he's not even a tattoo artist, but as long as I've got one good person to help balance what I'm not good at, well, it should be a great show. Yeah. And you guys were there. So, I feel like it was a pretty good show. The hardest part for me was watching not that many people come in the door because it was the first year. It was a bad season. We didn't fall. I thought like that was a dumb idea. I didn't know until later. Yeah. But we figured it out. We moved it to March, and I think this year it's going to be.
Well, how much did COVID impact that? Because I know the first year you were going to do it was 2020, right?
Yeah.
And then COVID happened right before then.
And March was COVID.
So I can imagine the amount of money and time and energy put into it that now had to be put on back hold.
Dude, it was a nightmare. So I went. We had it all set up for the Dayton Convention Center. We were going to do 150 booths because it was a bigger show, which allows a bigger budget. All that bigger event center. There were a few drawbacks. The Dayton Convention Center, they charge a lot more money, but they have to sell the alcohol, and alcohol brings in some of that money, some of the profit. So when we didn't even have that as like one of our revenue sources, I was a little disappointed. But then COVID happened, stopped everything, and then they ended up sending us our money back. We had already paid for the venue. We had already had all this money invested. Everything was like ready. We even had advertising started. So we lost money in our advertising.
Oh, shit.
Because it was like 2 or 3 weeks in. We were like, yay, let's get this going. And then they're like, shut it all down. And I was like, no, cancel all advertising.
Yeah.
Stop spending money. But then the convention center sent it all back. So then I had to just hold on to the money until we were allowed to do it again. And I had to allow so much time for everybody to like stop being scared of everything. Like I'm not going in a public crowded place. So that took like 2 years, 2.5 years. Finally, I went to go set back up with the convention center, and they more than 50% raised the price tag. It went under new management. And so here's the weird part. It was only like $11,000 to like rent for the weekend. It wasn't horrible. But then when we went back, they wanted like 15, almost 16,000 plus $65 per booth for electricity times 150 booths. And I was like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Damn.
No, it was like $9,000 and some change. I did the math immediately. I was like, that's $25,000. Like, I can't do that. That's not in the budget. It's not even an option.
Right.
So I started looking around for other venues. I considered the Sharonville Convention Center, but I was like, that's not Dayton. Like, that's more Cincinnati. And then I found the fairgrounds, which is where we did it. And I was like, I had to go look at it. And I was like, maybe we might be able to fit 85 booths in here. Maybe that's a good thing. Like maybe keeping it smaller, a little more intimate, a little more personal. I might actually remember everybody's name that shows up. And I feel like it worked out really well. Yeah. It's a really new building. Parking is free. We got to sell the alcohol. Like I said, stuff like that all worked out.
Yeah. And that's one thing that I noticed about the show was, typically they're like downtown, like a busy, a lot of foot traffic. But I like the vibe of just kind of being its own thing.
Almost out in the middle of nowhere. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was like you said, the building was seen brand new. It was a nice environment. I feel like it was a good spot for a show, and I feel like it fits the vibe of what he was going for, you know, versus being just a lot of people.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with bringing in a lot of people, which is what I want to do this year. I want to try to make every artist in that building is turning away clients. That's what I want. I want them so slammed that a lot of people are going to be disappointed because they didn't get to get tattooed because everybody was so busy. That makes a good show for the artists.
Sure.
But I also want the artist to be the priority. Like, our money comes from people coming in the doors. That's where we make any kind of money. That's secondary. Like, money's cool, but make sure the artists have a great show. Make sure everybody's happy. You know what I mean? The awards are not just the standard crap you see everywhere else. They're like Evergreen, they're handmade, they're themed, and they're focused on being something original. Pieces of art, basically. So last year's we were a little scared towards the end. We were like, oh no, we don't know how to make this thing work. So my partner, his name's Matt, he was like, dude, I ended up just throwing a bunch of money at it, and I bought a bunch of geodes. He's like, we just had to make our own and just hurry up and get it done, because we were like, we don't know how to make this work. But the themes, did I send you an invitation? The little treasure box thing? It had a tiny little geode in it. And then we were trying to theme the rest of the show, but we didn't know how. That's where we ran into the problem.
Yeah.
So this year, you guys know what I'm doing yet this year? No?
I don't think. I mean,
I'm not entirely sure.
The thing you sent as the invitation this year is you sent a card, but then you also sent like an alien snail.
The Snailian. Yeah.
The Snailian.
Snailian. That was a clue. That's definitely a clue. It's definitely xenomorph alien themed. But wait till you guys see the trophies and all that shit. They're badass. I like them way more than last year's.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I thought the stuff from last year was awesome.
Thank you.
It's very original, and obviously cyan and your color scheme and everything, it fit so organically.
Right.
And it looks great, putting up. Because we just had a conversation about trophies and stuff like that, but when you put so much effort into when you receive this thing,
right,
everything's been thought through. You know what I mean? It really means something going to you, and it feels that way when we see it at the shop. Yeah. It's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I was trying to drum up some stuff because I wanted to compete this year, but when we decided to go the podcast route, which Matt Van Fossen is trying to talk me into doing a day on his inside arm. Yeah, so I thought about maybe tattooing Friday, but I don't know. Told him I would talk with you and see. But how are the competitions working? Or is it kind of know Hell City, like the artist, the tattoos day of can only enter in like best of day or best of show? Is it kind of similar or?
Nope. So, well, yes and no. So if you're doing tattoo of the day, it can only be tattooed that day. So this is the one thing where I had a minor disagreement on the Evergreen thing, which is where Josh Carlin has beautiful logic. He wants people to come in and compete for best in show. So his logic is the only way you can enter or win best in show is if you win a tattoo of the day, which means you got 3 options, which also limits their judging. But I don't think personally that if somebody enters on Sunday, they entered 3 days worth of work as best of a day, and then the person who tattooed only on Sunday all day stands no chance. You know what I mean? He's got 8 to 10 hours. This person's got 30 wrapped up in their tattoo. I don't feel like that's very fair. At the same time, the whole logic is do a 3-day piece, do more 3-day pieces. That's what he wants. I don't like that. So what I'm doing is I'm making it, if you enter tattoo of the day, you enter tattoo of the day. If you're going for best in show and you work for 2 days, you're out of tattoo of the day options. You wait till Sunday night.
Yeah.
So if you're coming in for a 3-day thing, you better bring it, because your only option is tattoo of the day or best in show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tattoo of the day can only be done that day, started and finished.
Yeah.
I kind of like that though, because it gives room for the people that want to do both things, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And especially you're wanting to, like, what your goals are is like getting people, like, obviously take care of the artists, but make sure those artists feel like they're provided for with clients.
Or they even stand a chance.
Right.
Because, this isn't to blow smoke up your ass or nothing, man, but you're a badass black and gray artist. You're well known for it. So when people come to the show and they don't have the feeling that they are as good as you, they won't even enter. And they don't, they just feel I don't stand a chance. Dude, Chris Powell's in the building or Kyle Cotterman's in the building. I'm fucked. So that's why I have the black and gray and the color tattoo of the day. So I was like, people who do color, color almost always wins against a black and gray piece because it's more, there's like so much more to look at.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like both. So it's hard to judge. You're like, dude, this is black and gray and it's amazing. This is color. It's amazing. What do you do here?
Yeah.
And it's not fair. It's like, how do you put these against each other? So I just eliminated that whole situation, made one of each. But I'm not doing places for tattoo of the day. It's one you win or you don't. That's it. And then best in show is one award. There is no first, second, third, none of that shit. You better produce a badass tattoo.
I like it. It's take it or leave it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes you work hard. Or if you have no interest in awards, you're good to go either way. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then all the other categories are mostly healed stuff.
No, it can be healed or fresh. I don't, as long as you get it done in time for that category that day or whatever. Yeah.
Nice.
Now it'd suck if you were trying to do a badass piece on Friday and it starts at 6. You know what I mean? You're like, shit, my category's today. I got like 4 hours in it.
Right.
Yeah. You might not, get what you want to get done, but
sure. What time does Best of Day usually start?
So the show is Friday and Saturday. It's noon to midnight. So it's 12-hour days.
Nice.
You don't have to stay obviously the whole time, but if you want to enter a badass piece, you got 12 hours. But we're starting the tattoo of the day at 11. So technically you get like 11 hours. And then
which is still a shit ton of time for a full day.
That's for a black and gray piece. That's a long ass day.
Yeah.
You guys, well, I don't know about you. You're ridiculously detailed. I don't know how fast you work, but for me, a black and gray piece, I could do something this big in 11 hours.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
probably wouldn't be as detailed as yours though.
And then if you do any black and gray and you have like color infusion in there, it's automatically in the color category.
Man, that's one of those, you're risking it.
It's tough.
Yeah, you're risking it. I thought about doing a color infusion category, but then it's like, how much color infusion?
Yeah.
Like now you get into details. Yeah. Like if it's a black and gray tiger with blue eyes, you know what I'm saying?
You're right.
What is that? Is that color infusion or is that just black and gray and you just ignore the damn eyes?
Well, apparently we've heard at certain conventions that's just automatic, like no doubt, that's straight into color.
You're referring to Pirtle's back piece?
Yeah. So he did the same thing, this Odin back piece, and just real tiny. It couldn't have been any more than that big.
It wasn't even 2 eyes. It was 1 eye.
And he got apparently taken out of the black and gray category because there's just a little blue in this, and obviously a whole black and gray back piece that's got a tiny bit of blue isn't going to beat a full color sleeve, in the color category.
Yeah.
No, I mean I appreciate the strictness of it all, because then black and gray people who are like hardcore true black and gray artists, they don't even use white. They got this piece that you enter with blue and it wins.
Yeah.
And they're like, the Blues won't want it. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
that's not fair. So I get it.
Yeah.
But then it sucks for you because if you got this whole big back piece, then you got another back piece that's got 97 hours of color in it. You don't stand a chance, you know? So I don't know.
Yeah. It does feel like there should be a third category that starts to get involved, because I feel like tattoos are just starting to get, it's kind of like music.
I've seen
There's like rap and metal, and you've got like color mixed with black and
rap
gray.
Country now, and
right.
I get you.
I've seen a lot of color infusion as of recent, and especially I've been kind of dipping more into it just because I feel like you can only do so much with black and gray. I feel like and at some point I wanted to bring in more. Just try the next level, you know, and just
expand your career, expand your ability. Yeah.
Yeah. And I do feel like color attracts more attention from just the general population.
Mm-hmm. Unless you live in LA. I learned that lesson.
Oh, yeah.
We went to Golden State. Dude, I'm a color artist.
Yeah.
And I was not.
Just loaded down with black and gray.
Dude, and check this out. And I don't give a shit about fashion all that much, right? So in LA, I had to ask all the other artists, like, dude, why is black and gray so popular here? And they're like, fashion. I was like, wait, what? They said if they don't put color in their tattoos because then it clashes with what they're wearing. And I was like, I would have never thought of that ever in my lifetime. Would I have thought my tattoos make my outfit look different? When it does, it makes sense. But I was just like, these people give a shit about their fashion. I'm like, dude, I wear tank tops and shorts, dude.
How was that show overall?
So they don't advertise the show at all.
Yeah.
They have a nice following. They got like 40 or 50,000 people on their Instagram. But dude, it was dead. Like the whole weekend, I was sitting there with my thumb all the way up my ass, bored.
That's what Dylan was saying.
It was awful. Dylan ended up tattooing Hunter. So he did a big ass 2-day piece on him. But I was like, dude, we flew all the way out to LA for you to tattoo a guy that we worked together. You know what I mean?
Right. We could have just done this at home.
Yeah, but here's the crazy part. Richie Bull, Hustle Butter, man, he had 2 whole rows, and then like another half of 2 whole rows. I bet you it was 18 or 19, 20 booths. It was insane. Everybody in those booths was a phenomenal, holy shit artist. Hip was in there.
Yeah.
And it was funny because he and I were chatting, and I was like, so are you going to enter? And he's like, did you see who's here? And he was like, are you out of your mind? I'm not going to enter anything.
Let me just save my ego.
Yeah,
Let me just not even get excited.
But it was hilarious because I was like, I went there on Friday and I tattooed Harley, my girlfriend. I tattooed her, but I did a little 4-hour tattoo. I was thinking Friday's the dead day. I might stand a chance. Dude, we go around the stage and there's people already kind of walking up. So she goes up, she gets judged, comes back off. And they got TVs set up with cameras watching the tattoos. So I'm watching one of these TVs. And this dude comes up with like a half sleeve of like this wizard. I was like, dude, that's got 90 hours in it. There's no fucking way that was done today. It was done that day. And I was sitting there staring at it going, hey, we're leaving. We're done. We're out of here. I don't stand even a remote chance of this one. Yeah, she was like, are you serious? I was like, no, seriously. No, we're walking away. Seriously.
On a Friday, too?
On a Friday. I was like, did they start at 2 a.m. today? Like, what is...
Right.
It was a phenomenal tattoo. I don't even know who did it. I was just like, yeah, nope, I'm out of here. That's it for me.
Yeah, it's hard for me to understand how people can be so fast. I don't know if maybe they're still using coils. I know coils you can throw down with. You get the right machine, but I've never been able to tattoo that fast.
I mean, dude, you put a ridiculous amount of detail and like you care. So like, one of my favorite artists I love watching because his work is so original is Rember. You guys know Rember Orellana? So I love watching his work, and he was at Evergreen one year, and he did this. I mean, it was this ridiculous thigh piece, and maybe it was on the inside.
That was the year I was there. I'm pretty sure
it was like this ridiculous. The dude flew in that morning, got tattooed all day, and then had to jump back on a plane and flew home. And I was like, huh, I need people doing that. Like, what am I doing wrong? I want clients like that. But yeah, they weren't even allowed to judge his piece because the customer wasn't there. They were like, we can't judge your iPad because that's all he had was like his iPad picture of the tattoo. But I was like, dude, he had it done in like 9 hours. It was like this big, black and gray with a blue like color infusion. And I was like, how? Yeah. How? What? He's just phenomenal. You know what I mean? He's probably been doing it since he was 4 or something. I don't know. Just got to figure it out, man.
Yeah, I've never understood it, but I definitely like to take my time. And yeah, I do go for the detail, but even then I feel like I see guys be super detailed and just fly through shit,
Robbie Latos.
Yeah, and that's that's who I was thinking of in my head.
That dude, I think I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he said he uses like mostly a 3-liner. Or like most of his shit, like a 3-liner.
I mean, it kind of makes sense when you look at his shit, but
yeah,
because the dude will be doing a whole back piece in a day, though.
Yeah,
like a whole back.
Not with a 3-liner, but I mean, maybe he's running at 37 volts or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I usually run mine at like 8. I was using the Flux for a long time, the FK irons, but I recently just got both of the new Numa 5s.
Okay. They're not air powered anymore, are they?
No.
Yeah, I've heard.
No.
I remember when they first came out when they were all air powered, had little compressors making all that racket.
Yeah,
I remember those.
I was looking into. I think Hip got them when they were like that, and I was like, hell no.
No. Hip goes through all of them, man. He tries all of the shit.
Yeah.
That one that was magnetic.
Ink machines?
I don't know.
That sounds crazy.
The cartridges were magnetic.
Yeah.
It was like $2,500 for the setup. I was like, dude, how much are those cartridges with magnets in them? Like, that's got to be expensive.
Yep, and the holder, you could it would memorize volts and
different
things.
I remember
presets,
that thing.
Yeah.
You got like 6 ink cartridges out, and you go to pick it up, and it's like, it's this when it registers, it changes everything, and you start tattooing.
Yeah.
I was like, that's kind of genius.
I don't ever change my voltage, though, really.
I run at 11.
Yeah, I keep mine the same pretty much all the time. I threw down that, I don't know if you happen to see it or not, but I just did, it was an Odin. It was all black and gray with like blue and shit. It was a half sleeve.
I think so, yeah.
I threw that down with the Numa 5, and it felt a lot like a coil using it, and packed it real good.
Okay.
Pretty much one pass, the whole thing. We did 2 days on it, so it was basically like 22 hours in 2 days, I think. And I was able to get probably 90% done on the half sleeve.
Just do like a follow up, clean it up kind of thing.
Well, and the design, I had like lower neck, shoulders down, but I just stopped it. So there's a chunk underneath that needs done. Okay. I would imagine probably some white is going to need hit again, Right. And I feel
usual.
And doing a long session like that, there's going to be areas that may need a little more contrast, need bumped, or put some black back into some things, but I'm hoping, and the way it looked when we were done, I feel like it should heal pretty well, But
black and gray heals really well usually, as long as your customer does their job and you don't kill them.
Yeah.
Which you run it at 8 volts and not moving fast, they're going to heal.
Yeah.
Dude, I get a little scared with my clients because I run at 11 volts and I tattoo like I'm some kind of maniac. And I mean, I would, if you guys, we've never sat and chatted before, but I usually, when we get into this conversation, I pull out my phone and I'll show you, like, I did this one in 8 hours. And you're like, what? And I'm like, I don't take breaks. I don't smoke. You know what I mean? So I just tattoo until one of us dies. And then, I got to pee.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't run off. I'll be back in 10 minutes and we're going to get this done. Like it shows.
Oh, yeah.
Shows especially. But yeah, like, so when I started doing black and gray was 5 years ago, maybe. Because I didn't get it. It's weird. Most people start out black and gray and switch to color because they want it, like you said, you're trying to expand. I went the opposite route. I started off with color. And I hated the concept of black and gray. And then I was like, I want to expand. But is that going backwards?
Well, I started off with color. I did color for like 6 years.
Oh, okay.
And that was mostly what I did. And then I got into Aisle 9, and there was already a slew of badass color artists. And I seen the opening. And I originally started in graphite, like school and pencils and stuff. So I
had an understanding.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And I always have liked black and gray. I just found myself doing mostly color. And that's what I really tried to push the most, like a neo-believable style, outlines, bold stuff. But yeah, then that's when I jumped into the black and gray, pretty much fully committed to it, quit taking on color. So I feel like I'm pretty well versed in it. I just... Something about just pouring like 40 caps, or just like shaking 30 bottles and mixing and layering.
And they get hard on the top, and you got to bust it open or rip the top off, start all over. Yeah.
Yeah. So, there was a few reasons I went to black and gray, but.
Black and gray, you only got to worry about one color. Just values of that one color.
Yeah.
So I guess it makes things easier to understand. Like I said, when I started picking up doing it, I was like, man, this is actually fun.
Yeah.
I don't have 382 colors to worry about, or how do I blend my purple into peach? Like who gives a shit?
Yeah.
You black and gray, you do black.
Yeah, you mainly just focus on smooth blends and contrast.
Yeah. Value, like your value, dark to light, simple. Yeah. And it's not simple, it's complicated, because I was like, this is harder than color to me. I had to like work at it, and I'm still not even anywhere near your level. I see your shit and I'm like, oh fuck.
Well,
going back to color.
the hardest part of the transition was for me was just making sure I would leave it enough skin tone, because with color you saturate everything.
Right.
The whole black all the way through the colors to white, but with black and gray you want some skin tone. Because I've never been a big heavy white person. Like I like to do black and gray with minimal whites. You know?
Like just of like 3 dots.
Yeah. So I found myself just muddying it up or not leaving enough of the highlight, and I would just kind of wash it out. And I struggled with that for a while. That was the hardest thing for me, switching from color black and gray. But
so when I see black and gray, I always have to explain some things to my customers. Often is there's black and gray, which is what we call it, and then there's black and white. And they always call it black and white. They're like, I want a black and white tattoo. And I'm like, but do you want black and white? Or do you want black and gray?
Yeah.
Then I have to go through the process of telling them the difference, because there's the black and white, like the 50s movies, where you use a shit ton of white and opaques. And they go, no, this. And it's like, oh, you want black and gray.
Yeah.
So, that, but then like you said, you add too much white into your piece, even though it's supposed to be black and gray, but you're trying to brush white in, like soften, like lighten their skin tones a little. Then it looks like you tried to make gray.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work right.
We always said if you use a lot of white, it's because you're just trying to save it.
Yeah.
Like you just went too dark. But I feel like there's a whole movement of artists out there that are doing heavy whites in their black and gray. Like they'll go like Don Brown. I don't know if you know who that is, or like Elliot, somewhere over in the UK. But they just go so dark with the black. Elliot, I can't remember his full Instagram handle.
You're not talking about Elliot Kohak, are you?
No,
that dude's
I don't think
an amazing black and gray artist.
Maybe, yeah.
I was also thinking about that Montero dude, because he does a similar thing.
Just heavy blacks, dark grays with whites. When it heals, I feel like it can heal really good, but it's always a gamble with whites.
Oh yeah,
it's always a gamble.
How's their skin gonna take it? Is it gonna turn it beige?
Yeah, are they gonna hit the sun? Are they, there's just, it's too, it's too unpredictable, you know? So I always hated just packing a shit ton of white in there, and then some of it turned yellow. Like we did Tim's leg, and we put a pretty good amount. I fully saturated, no skin tone, whites, but there was one part of the snake that wanted to turn yellow. I think it kind of went away, right? Or is it still?
Yeah, because like I've kind of got I don't know. You can't really tell from my arms, but like on my legs, I feel like I'm a little bit more tone on my legs, so it kind of made more sense the more it has settled over time, because it was like
it got real yellow for a second
when it was healing, because it was in that phase, I would say, for like 3 months, 4 months, even after we had finished that second 2-day. But now it's not too bad. I wish I could bust it out of the fucking joggers I got right now. Right. But it went away. But yeah, you're right. For sure, at the start, it was just in that one spot right there that it wanted to seem kind of yellow.
Or like doing a lot of sleeves. I don't know if you've experienced, I'm sure. But doing a half sleeve or full sleeve, put a bunch of whites in there, and then on their left arm, they got their arm out the window, or where their sleeve hits. So it's like kind of milky, and then under their sleeve up, it's like white and
like
shit.
It should
so
be,
it's like
I always make my decision of whether or not that person can handle more white or like lighter tones a year after I tattooed them.
Yeah.
So you get a lot of repeat clients. So I'll like tattoo something, I'll test some lighter stuff, and then I'll wait a year. And I'll be like, I don't want to do any more light stuff onto you until 1 year from now, because I want to see how that handles on, like how you handle that.
Yeah.
And then see how they take care of it. A lot of people don't take care of their stuff like they should. And, you could sit right next to them and hold their hand like a small child, and they still find a way to ruin it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, I bet my clients hate me because I talk to them like they're 4. And I'm like, listen, you're dropping thousands of dollars in my lap. Take care of your shit, you know?
Something I found that I've been kind of playing with, and I tried a lot of on that or the Zeus piece I just did. I did whitewash all the way up until whites, but instead of using pure white, I used Pooch has a world famous gray set.
Okay.
And the lightest gray tone, almost white, but it's still gray, just barely. Mm-hmm. I used that as whites instead of pure white to see if it being just a little bit off would help.
It does, because you got that little bit of black.
I've even heard like a drop of purple will kind of counteract that yellow.
Okay. I've heard a drop of orange in everything in your tray. If you're doing black and gray, drop like a drop of orange in each cap.
So it's not so cool when it heals. It's more warm.
And now this is third-hand information. I did zero fact checking on this, but apparently the human eye picks up orange as one of like the most vibrant colors we see. So even if you do black and gray, but you drop a couple drops of orange in your cap, depending on your cap size, and then you mix it in thoroughly, it just makes your colors a little bit more vibrant and a little bit more picked up by the eye. And I was like, I'm going to try that. Yeah. So every now and then I try it, especially somebody with like super pale skin, like extra. Jumping back real quick, you said using like the tone right under white. Mm-hmm. Nico Hurtado has a video out. I don't know if you've seen it. It's like a piece right under here. It's a piece of like a lot of red. It's like a girl with some makeup on, and he did this whole like seminar style video of it where he talks over top of it like a narrator over top. But he mentions that he never uses white until the very end, and he probably has white in his needle for 45 seconds. He said he'll use the next step down. Like if it's pink, it's like the lightest pink, but it's still pink. He doesn't use white, because it's more realistic and it stays stronger. So ever since I watched that video 15 years ago, ever since then I barely use white unless I need white.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you were trying to say.
And that's interesting you say that, because like when I'm doing photo editing, for me, white is like blown out. It's just like, I mean, you always hear this, like black is the inclusion of all colors and white is the absence of all colors, right? So when I'm like messing with like sharpening or even like looking at different colors in my photographs, usually white is where all detail's been blown out. Like there's nothing really left in that. So it's interesting that, saying that or using like the drop value of it makes it more realistic, because kind of what you did when I was looking at those Zeus photos, kind of like right here next to his eye where it was like super sharp, where there was hair and maybe some like wrinkles or something like that, you had used the white just in rolled like dotty areas, because it just brought that sharpness.
That was that gray.
Wasn't actually white. Yeah.
I used gray. It was in the beard, the hair, all of it, in the face. It wasn't actually white. It was that really light gray from the Pooch set.
Damn.
Yeah.
So wait, what spots of that did you use?
The white. The only place I used the white was in the lightning.
You didn't even put it in his eye or anything?
Just in the
like
very
fucking
very
dot.
pupil, like
dot,
just the dot was pure white, but Everything else was light
Damn,
gray.
that's wild, man. Because like right there, I'll
couldn't
probably
really tell, huh?
No, I mean, dude, that's how the eye works. You know, like what you was just saying, like it'll pick up certain things. So when I'm looking at that and all around it is like those real dark tones and shit, like you're probably working with other things, just not like fucking black up in that. But in contrast to that, it seems like fucking white.
Yeah.
Especially when you're using a digital version, like you're using a digital thing to record your video or your picture. It's going to pick up things differently than my eyeballs or your eyeballs or like an old style camera that uses film. Things just look a little bit different. I'm sure you of all people know that.
Yeah.
Right.
So when he's using that light gray versus a white, it's going to show up better, especially for the world to see your work. You want it to show up better.
Mm-hmm.
So makes perfect sense.
I am interested to see how that. I feel like it's always risky when you're mixing black, gray, and color or when you're mixing gray wash and color because wash will heal a certain way and color doesn't. So in the transitions, I would take that blue and I would just dip into that light wash or the medium wash and try to get that muted, that transition. So it was like semi-opaques, but it was mixed with gray wash versus actual grays. But I really want to see that healed because obviously fresh, a lot of light tones using a small mag and stuff can go in really, really dark and dense. But when it heals, I want to see how
it's up real good.
Yeah, I want to see how the transitions look and just see if that blue way overpowers the wash or not. Because I was trying to be really careful and go darker with the opaques and more saturated so I could get that. That drives me crazy when I see someone do black and gray in color, but their gray wash is really soft and I feel like that color is just so bold because it's saturated differently.
Right.
That I feel like it just looks like
color, man. You turn the machine up, killing the skin a little more. You're trying to drive it all in there. The black and gray, it's real soft. You're real light on the skin, and you just go darker as you need it.
Yeah.
It is, man. It's because, like I said, that's a totally different technique in tattooing. That's why I was trying to get good at black and gray because it's so different. You got to be slower. I actually turn my machine down, which I hate turning my machine down. But when I do like a color realistic-ish piece or whatever, dude, all of a sudden I'm going slower and I realize man, this is way different. Different, shorter throw, shorter depth. I mean, I'm just like, this is so different, but fun, which is why I see why you love it.
I think that you just have, like, I've noticed you have more, I feel like I can be more artistically free and just kind of experiment as I go versus I feel like with color, you got to be very methodical with your layers and blends and
not necessarily.
Have a pretty, and unless you're really good at layering, but I don't like to layer. I like to like start to finish as I go.
Same.
So like
complete a whole section, then move to the next section. Yeah, I do the same.
I know some guys will just get around and go all over the place and build it up and build it up and build it up, and
that kills your client.
That seems free, but your
clients hate life.
Yeah, for sure. You do an outline and then you go back through it and then try to work on that tattoo a day 2.
Oh God, no!
It's like
2 days in a row. You do an outline, and you go back and do. Oh, they'll die. And then the skin's all hard. It's like swollen and pissed off.
Yeah,
you can't even touch them. You can't even spread the skin over. They're like, no.
I was just thinking about this a little bit, but like, I heard something. I think it was like Hell City or something a couple years ago. Was people talking about how black and gray doesn't win as much as color anymore. And it seems like for obvious reasons, what I was saying is just more for the eye to see, but also a lot of the pieces that get done are more saturated than black and gray because for a long time it was eliciting different things. And these days, just because like I'm on social media a lot, and we just had an episode about talking about, or maybe it's Patreon being like a genre whore for like art or music and stuff. Like, oh, is it realism? Is it photorealism? Or is it color? Is it black and gray infusion or whatever? But I feel like the work that you've been putting out more since you've been making this transition to trying to get it full saturated, your black and gray pieces are now becoming more comparable to color pieces in a way, because when you see a sleeve in color, it's like fully saturated. There's no skin tone, right?
Right.
But you see a sleeve in black and gray, there's a ton of skin tone. So it kind of feels... Maybe I'm wrong here, but less.
You can fully saturate a black and gray tattoo and wash, but with wash it just has it's like taking the opacity and turning it down because
it's like translucent.
Yeah,
you see through it to the skin tone.
So you can saturate the shit out of it, but it's still going to have that like warm skin feel to it versus opaques. or color, because color you're like fully dyeing it. You can't really tell there's any skin tone.
For the example, maybe this will help. So like one of the things Matt taught me when I was doing a color portrait, which I don't like doing color realism as much anymore, like true hard realism, like photorealism. He was saying like where even if you say you're doing a portrait on a forearm and you get to like a cheek highlight and that person's natural skin tone that you're tattooing on is the same exact color as that cheek highlight, tattoo it anyway. Like find that color and tattoo right over their skin anyway. Reason being is like the logic is they get older, their skin tones change. If they get a tan or if they go into a cave for 2 years and come out lighter for some reason, that cheek now looks awkward and weird. So you just want to saturate every single bit of it. Whereas with like black and gray, that cheek highlight is using that skin tone to its advantage, no matter what. Even if they do get tan, it's still the lightest part of that. So it makes perfect sense because then the whole skin area is changing rather than just that little weird cheek highlight because the ink is filling it in. Yeah. That makes sense. Then,
right.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. It just seems like when you like, I guess nowadays when I'm looking at different tattoos, I remember like a couple of the older black and gray pieces he did when we were back at Aisle 9 seemed like it had more of that translucent feel versus what you're doing now.
Yeah.
And everything seems punchier because it's got those opaques and stuff, and it is just a little bit more differentiated from skin.
And they'll last longer that way.
Right, it does last longer.
Make them harsher, like stronger contrast, they'll last longer.
Well, and I know for sure that I'm not as afraid to use more black. I feel like I've been using a lot more black, and instead of being so quick to transition from black to like gray wash, I'll powder that black out more and then put that gray wash over top of it in hopes that it'll help keep some of that, like, I don't know if richness is the right word, but
those are basically saturation.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Right.
Do you ever, when you're done with your pieces, like, or you feel like you're almost done, do you go back with black and hit more things? You ever done that?
Yeah,
or do you scare yourself?
Sometimes, but then at the same time, it's kind of bit me in the ass a couple times. It's bit me in the ass a couple times as far as healing, you know.
Okay, yeah, you over damage the skin a little compared to what you're used to. Okay, yeah.
But with Empire, the ivory black, I feel like the ivory black it's a good one to do that, to take and just like brush over some areas and not have to really saturate. I try to be disciplined in like not going super dark in the beginning and then leaving those areas kind of empty till the end. But I don't like to go light to dark. I always have been a dark to light person.
Yeah. That's standard tattooing.
Yeah, so it's hard for me to build up into the darks because I'll tattoo the blacks first. You know, I feel like that's just the easiest.
I'm glad you say that because, again, I've never had anybody to learn from as far as black and gray goes, but I would do mediums, like my mid-tones. I would start off with those and then kind of build lighter and build darker where I needed to. But like you said, you like to go to sections complete and move on like a printer. Kyle Cotterman does that. I've loved watching him tattoo. But like that's what I was trying to do. But with black and gray, I feel like it's harder for me because I'm not so experienced at it. But I would always do midtones because I was like, I don't know if this is going to be too dark. I don't want to start off with black and screw myself.
Yeah.
So I would do midtones and then be like, nope, needs to be darker, needs to be darker. And then I think like I love referencing artists. You know, Yogi. Mm-hmm. So Yogi, you know, he stains his work. Like he'll go over the same area 25 times. And because I did a little seminar where he was teaching. And he had his girlfriend there, and he was showing that Marilyn Manson portrait that's like this big. But it took him like 11 hours because he just super slow. He runs his machines at like 4 volts, and he'll just brush over something, get it to kind of the color, and then he'll move to somewhere else, come back, hit it again. Now I want that a little bit more purple. Now I want a little bit darker. You know what I'm saying? He'll hit the same area like 25 times,
that's
but
crazy.
It's not damaging the skin because it's running so soft.
Yeah.
And I was like, I would never want to do that.
Yeah, it sounds painful.
Yeah.
The discipline there.
Yeah, it's the whole tattoo. She was there and it saw it in person. It was like this big, the whole thing. And he said it took 11 hours. I was like, fuck my life.
Yeah.
Like for me as the artist, no way in hell would I be able to just tolerate that. And then for her, I feel bad. You know, unless she's just good at laying down, she watches some TV or something. I don't know, but 11 hours.
That sounds miserable.
You'd have like 1,000 hours in your body if you tried to go big.
Yeah.
Having him work on you.
Oh, right.
But his pieces are amazing. They look fantastic, but it's like, dude, torture.
Yeah.
It's funny how I've always heard with him, he's like talking about buying those like shitty like Amazon machines and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like how do you even do that?
Which who's who?
He would buy like $40 Amazon machines and just
Yogi?
yeah.
Yeah.
Don't like sponsorships. He don't like where the industry's going. Yeah, a while back he made a rant video like, you guys have pushed and pushed to grow the industry, and now you guys are asking for help. Well, fuck you, you know. Like,
okay, he's old school, man.
Oh yeah, like he's like, shit. If there's regulation, I'll go underground. You guys won't hear from me, and I'll be good, kind of thing. He's like, fuck you guys. You know, you ain't getting my help. You know, right?
He's got clients for life. He's in no trouble.
Right.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, his work's just phenomenal. So
yeah,
that's fantastic. He's 100% right. When I was at the Evergreen Educational, the one that we did in Orlando, I took Hip and Zach, and that was right before the whole Al9 transition thing. And we all went down there, and I mean, we learned from Liz Cook, Teresa Sharp, Lefty Colbert, Yogi, Dave Tevenall. Like, these were like, I'm just like, holy shit, I'm in the presence of gods right now. Like, these people are all ridiculous. And I remember learning, one of the most I learned was for Yogi and then Josh Carlton. And then they had a guy named David Gluck. He's a painter, and he's teaching oil painting. And the whole time I'm like, don't give a fuck about your oil painting, man. David Gluck is hilarious. I love anything that dude writes. I'm like, I want to be involved because he's hilarious. I love the guy. And he's a badass painter. But I'm like, I don't paint. And even if I did, I wouldn't use oil. You know what I mean? So this is a waste of my life right here. I was like, can I go on break? Well, you know, felt like a dick. But.
There's an artist that Taya really loves. I don't know if you know Taya or not. But
yeah, dude. I love watching her work. She's a badass. But that tattoo she got recently
from Deanna. That's what I was about to bring up.
Yeah.
She does a lot of color, and she's got a painting background. I'm guessing she was really good at oil painting, but she uses a lot of those techniques in her tattooing with undertones and muting colors with different colors, and so it sounds like there could be a lot to it, but I'm not a painter. I've tried on multiple occasions to like put myself through the process and be disciplined, and I just can't finish anything. It just takes so long.
Were you doing acrylic or oil?
Oil.
If you do acrylic, it's a little different.
Yeah. I've tried acrylic in the past with like schooling back in like my late high school days.
Right.
But recently I picked up oil and was trying that.
Dude, I tried oil one day. I gave myself one day, and I was like, never again will I touch oil.
Yeah.
I'm probably wrong. I'll probably try it again when I get a little older and I tattoo a little less. So I'll be bored.
Yeah.
But dude, it stays wet.
Yeah.
And then you just smearing shit around.
Oh yeah, the blending is so fucking hard with the oil. I painted a handful of times with oil, and you have to have patience, I think, with it. Like not even just because that sounds. You guys do tattoos. Clearly, you're patient motherfuckers. You know? But those people seem like they're just patience is on a new fucking level.
6 months to finish a painting,
right?
Oh, dude, shoot me.
Yeah, and then it's like, is it even worth it? Because with my tattoo price point and my hourly. You know how much I'd have to charge for a painting if I spent 60 hours on it for it to like actually make sense financially?
Right.
And I just don't have the passion to just do it for fun.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're thinking more commission based, like, you know, hey man, I want you to do this painting of my mom on my wall, I want it this big, and you're going $35,000. You know?
Yeah.
Like, you got that kind of money laying around?
Yeah, so I don't know, man.
I think painting is more of a fun hobby passion that's tattoo relatable. So I haven't painted anything in 6-7 years. You know what I mean? Because I just don't have the time.
Yeah.
And I dread the idea of starting it and then not being able to finish it that day.
Yeah.
Like if I can't start it and finish in 6 or 7 hours, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
That's why I hate oil.
Tattooing is definitely my favorite medium because you can put it there and it's there.
And it's life. The reaction, man, listen, we can touch on this. This is glorious. So I love being motivated by a thing. A lot of the time it's money. I love being motivated by money. I'm very open about that. But the money to me in tattooing is secondary to the client being so ridiculously happy with what they get. I've never seen anything. There's nothing in this world that I've seen where people can do it as a career and get that joy. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I definitely think it's tattooing's different. There's not really much that compares to it, honestly.
Right.
You know, people ask me all the time, like, what would I do if I've not gotten a tattoo? And it's like, well, fuck, dude, I've never even thought about it. I don't know. I've never.
It hurts your brain to think that.
Even just me, because I'm not a tattooer, I just do video and stuff. But tattooing changed my whole fucking world. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like flipped it all the way upside down because like, dude, I came from like factory background, like working at fucking iMart and shit. I never once had to give a fuck about other people,
Right.
or myself even, you know, until I stepped into this new reality and I was like, oh shit, I actually kind of give a shit about people.
Right.
Well, oh shit, I'm people, you know. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah. That's funny.
It's just crazy how you know, you hear all the time like tattooing saved my life, but dude, you're not fucking lying.
It's weird. It's weird. Like, okay, so my partner in Cyan, his name is Matt Cavallero, and I started.
I met him.
Yeah,
right?
he's a good dude, man.
Yeah.
One of the most ridiculously great people I've ever met in my life. Honest to God. This guy, I'm gonna talk about for 2 seconds. One of my favorite things is when Hip worked at the shop, and Hip would talk about how he used to shoot up toilet water and shit, because you know how he is.
Yeah, I've heard that story for sure.
Matt's eyes got so big when he heard that. He's like, "What?" And then we would talk, because I've done a few mistakes, made a few mistakes in my life, broke a few rules. And Hip and I would have these conversations of the dumb shit we've done. And Matt's like, I got a speeding ticket once. You know what I mean? Like he's that guy, like super nice, friendly frat boy, like did college. He runs a big section of his hospital now. He's like, I love the dude, but I'm just like, dude, you live such a great life. You don't know what it's like to come from garbage. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know where you guys are from or your backgrounds, but growing up poor as shit, and then you get into this crazy world. Like, this house that you live in is amazing.
Thank you.
It's a glorious house. And I was actually on track to buy one very similar until interest rates hit 8%. And I was like, I'm going to wait a little while.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
mine's close to that. It's not quite there, but a little over 6, you know. But we've been waiting 10 years. It's like, fuck it, I'll just And I was gonna hold off until I talked to my Uncle Buster. He's got a lot of property. He's like, fuck it, dude, just refinance in a couple years.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, if you say it like that,
Right.
whatever, you know. But when I think about upgrades, when I think about putting money, like I would love to redo the front sidewalk and have one of my best friends growing up was a stonemason.
Oh,
like
wow.
to do the front walk and the
Like an
driveway and
artistic.
like a stone feel, and like there's projects I want to do, but I'm like, fuck, I'm pretty much gonna have this house forever. Like there's no point in me ever trying to resell it, because I would, which I guess, you know, losing money is the same as renting, you know. But
yeah. Well, no matter what you do right now, if you refi in a couple of years, if you do any improvements to this house, it'll gain value.
Yeah.
This is one of those things you buy, it appreciates no matter what.
Yeah.
You could buy a shitbox $20,000 house, do anything to it, and you got a $40,000 house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's like making money.
Yeah, well, I know it also has a lot to do with the neighborhood too, and a lot of the neighbors, the houses are probably the same, but I don't really see them upgrading much. So I don't know, but there's definitely shit I want to do to it. But
right.
It's
When did you guys get this place?
like 8 months ago.
Oh yeah, you said 6 because you said 6%. I was like, damn, you got that recent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got approved. I don't know what you spent. You don't have to give your business. I got approved for a $350,000 loan, and I was like, my head exploded.
Yeah.
I was like, nuh-uh. Dude, I grew up in a $13,000 house. My mom paid $13,000 for this piece of shit. Lived in it for, my whole life. And then now I'm talking to somebody, and he's like, yeah, we got you in for $350,000. And I was like,
yeah,
that much money exists? You know what I mean? Like, nuh-uh. You know, my Elon Musk right now?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, your head just goes crazy thinking it's even possible.
Yeah.
So,
well, just for maybe some of the tattooers listening, just to not to brag but to really build confidence or dream, help,
possibilities.
Yeah, that's a great term for it. It's a $475,000 home.
Nice, man.
Being a tattoo artist, and only recently, within the past couple of years, getting off the pirate ship, which was honestly the best decision I've made because it's opened up a lot of opportunities for me.
When you say pirate ship, you mean like claiming taxes, doing things legit?
Like actually operating as a legit business, and
that's what opens you up to get this.
Yeah, and being able to invest and 401k and have secondary bank accounts that have good APRs, and being able to not try to live under the radar, because when you live under the radar, you're capped.
Yeah.
And you can't...
Unless you just pay for everything in cash, but you can't buy this in cash. Well, you're going to be like, where'd you get that kind of money?
Right. And you can't buy anything that will make you money. It's you're only able to buy, unless you're like buying and flipping cars and maybe some stuff like that. But
even then, because I was half owner of a car lot for like a year and a half. And that's a whole different world, because they're strict with that stuff. They watch you, man. Like, you pay a certain dollar amount for a car, I'm not going to get in details.
Sure.
It'll drag out, but they're super on top of that, and you can't just run through that. Like, because I was trying, I was like, hey man, what can I claim I sold this for that the government won't say anything? He's like, what'd you sell it for? And I was like, $7,500. He goes, $7,500.
Yeah.
He's like, you're gonna get me in trouble. And I was like, wow, all right.
Even just the mindset behind it, you're trying to just looking over your shoulders. Right. I don't want to make too much money. I want to raise flags. I don't want to. Maybe I shouldn't. I feel like that is just a limiter. Versus just playing the game.
And it's dangerous. Like, you can get yourself in all kinds of trouble.
Yeah. Yes. If you just play the game, you pay your taxes just like any other successful business owner is doing. There's loopholes. There's ways to use your money to, to help lighten the tax burden. But if I'm living the life I'm living and someone's got a 9-to-5 and they're working their ass off and they don't have an option,
right?
Why, who am I to try to cut, let me play all out and be legit. And
I look at taxes in a different way. Taxes, everything that it's crazy. I don't know what you do, but you run your own studio. You have a dollar amount every month that you have to pay out. Most people don't like that part. I enjoy paying out everything I pay every month. And that's me and Harley and I were talking. We're at I think my level right now is like $15,000 that goes out every month for all the studio, all the shit, the new Corvette I bought, all that stuff. It's like $15,000. And she gets stressed. She'd be like, that sounds like so much money. And I'm like, but we make that much money, so it's okay. Yeah. And I enjoy it. Like, I am capable of doing this rather than panicking every month. Like the people who try not to turn in all their money and they're trying to be like, the government can't have this little $50. Yeah. It's like, dude, if you pay the $20 out of that 50 to the government that they need, you'll get some of it back eventually, but it's an investment in your own future.
Yeah.
Rather than you worrying about making more than $30,000 a year because the government's going to take away your free healthcare, you can make $250,000 a year, cover your own healthcare with no problem, and live a happier life and not have to be stressed. Yeah. Like, it's worth it. Just put in the effort.
Yeah. I love that perspective shift. Is like just being stoked that you can do it. Yeah. Like, I'm capable of doing this. That's that's huge, man.
It's also scary. $15,000 is a lot of money to a lot of people. And I have absolute respect for that amount of money. I don't sit here and go, man, that ain't shit. It's a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Like, I need to make sure that money exists because I have children. I have, a life. But as long as you are not stressing out like, man, fuck, I got to fucking pay this again and write all these bills. Goddamn. Yeah. I'm over here like, hell yeah, I just paid another credit card. Hell yeah. You know what I mean?
Like, what's the point in getting to that point if you're just going to be upset and stressed about it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, and being able to handle money like that and be responsible and take care of your shit. You need to go to the bank and get a loan. Boom, here's $50,000.
They don't even bat an eye. Because you were doing everything right.
Yeah, exactly. Man, I think I got like almost $75,000 of credit I could use if I wanted to. Yep. Just from being
legit. You were ever in a pinch or you wanted to go in a new venture, do something amazing. Yeah. You got $75,000 sitting there just waiting on you.
Yep. And I believe that's tax free. A lot of times if you have 75 in the bank and you take out a loan for 75, you have that as leverage. You borrow the money, you use the money. Mm-hmm. Create a business plan that's going to give you an ROI back that's higher than the interest rate, and voila, now you got tax-free money that you can use for your business. I'm pretty sure I'm speaking on that correctly. I haven't got into that yet, but it's things that I'm trying to gear up for and prepare for,
Tax-free. So you would want to take that 70. This is just something I've heard. Again, I'm not an expert. Don't even try to quote me. I think you're supposed to take that money and purchase like a life insurance policy, and then you can draw out of that life insurance policy because you put 75 in it. Yeah. And then that's tax-free.
Gotcha.
Yeah, there's like a bunch of nifty little tricks.
Yeah. Bunch of loopholes that are there for the game. It's part of the game.
Yeah. People always say things like, well, Trump or whoever the hell all these, people are, they're evading taxes. No, they're not. They just have the money to invest, to hire people to make sure they're doing the taxes the right way. They get away with using the laws that exist already to their benefit. Yeah. Like, you guys created these rules. I'm just using them. Yeah. Yeah. You just got to get there.
Yeah, I enjoy talking about money, but I know that for a lot of people, it's a trigger.
Oh yeah,
and we made we've talked about it a few times, so I don't even necessarily want to.
I haven't gotten to see all of the episodes of your guys' show. I was trying to catch up where I came here to help out, or like to do this.
There's a lot. Yeah. Even though there's like 12 episodes, there's a lot of time.
Yeah, dude, it's like it's close to like 15, 16 hours of content, which is crazy to think about. But
I can't even
you're
imagine
talking about
the work.
that post, right?
Yeah, the post. We just made a money on how much a sleeve costs.
I saw that, and
dude,
people were flipping
fucking
out.
haywire, you know. But I think, you know, how I grew up, my dad was like, "Don't fucking talk about money. Don't ask anyone what they make. Don't ask how much they got."
That's old
You know what I'm
school.
saying? And like that was always and I feel like a lot of people relate to that.
Yeah.
But
It's ingrained. It's built into you now because that's the way everybody has been.
yeah,
You're not supposed to ask your coworker what they make.
yeah.
Like, bullshit.
But a lot of people that I know that have that mindset just don't have the money. You know, so I think there's something to that versus being able to talk about it, being comfortable around it, being able to have conversations around it and feel okay. I think that being in that state of mind will allow money to kind of, Ryan Roy talks about money being like energy. It's positive and negative. It either flows to you or flows away, you know?
Yeah. Money's a tool. Like a lot of people look at it as this thing on a pedestal. Like, you know, it's this, I have to attain this goal. It's like, dude, once you've worked hard enough and you start flowing through it, like you were just saying, when you roll through a certain amount of money every month. I remember when $20 was like, damn, I got $20. Yeah. Now you throw $100 away and you're just like, damn, where did $100 go? Whatever.
DoorDash.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know, like
feed two people on DoorDash for $100.
And it's not like a cockiness. It's just like, I've moved on from that. And now you got to still respect it though.
Sure.
Because that $100 could feed a family for a month, you know, if it was stressed enough. But you have to like, I spend that $100 in the effort of realizing, you know, this money, I don't know. I might not be wording it properly, but.
Yeah, I definitely get where you're coming from though, man.
And not being scared of it and not being cocky.
Yeah.
You know, not running around like, oh, I'll spend this much. Oh, I'm awesome. No, man. Right. It's like, I can't believe I'm here. Yeah. Like, I worked my ass off to get here, but then I get here and I go, nuh-uh, this ain't real. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Well, it's wild when you have that mentality that you were just sharing with, like, you know, where you came from. It's just, for me, when I hear that, like, you know, don't talk about it, don't ask about it, whatnot, it's like, well, you're cutting out, like, a huge portion of questions you could be asking to people that you could be getting answers from, personally. Because, dude, one big thing about coming into the world and working with you was, like, I didn't ask shit. I didn't ask questions to anybody. I, like, you hear this phrase a lot, stay in your lane, and it's kind of a good, I think in some ways it has, like, a positive
fuck that, change
idea
lanes.
to it. But, dude, when you're in your lane so fucking much that you don't even have a lane.
Yeah, you're on the shoulder of the curb now. Yeah.
For real, and that's where I was.
Your lane's the bike lane over here.
Right, dude.
Trying to stay, don't hit me.
Yeah.
Right, dude, and that's exactly where I was. I didn't ask any questions of anything. I just, like, fucking turbo text my shit. You know, I didn't even think that doing something more could be a result of asking some good questions. And that's where I came from. Is like, just, dude, that's fucking disrespectful. You know, that's a lack of morals on your part because you're curious about what other people got in their pockets when you should be worried about what you got in your own. But it's like, well, I am worried about what. Yeah, fucking exactly. I am worried about what I got in my pockets. So how'd you get so much? You know,
right? Yeah.
But if you never ask that question, you're never gonna find out,
right?
And I found that people who talk about it the most with people, yeah, at least from my point of view, when I talk to people about money, it's because, like, I want to see you make more money too. Like,
let's do this shit together.
I'm living, I'm benefiting from the fruit of my labor. Like, I want to see you prosper. So let me try to open the door to this conversation and get you more comfortable. Yeah, and that's kind of my thought process behind a lot of those questions when I do talk to people about it. But most people are just uncomfortable.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of ego in money because in a lot of ways, I think people define themselves by what they have, what they eat, what they can afford to have, what they can afford to eat, the car they drive. You know, and those are the determining factors for a lot of people's, like, values. And, like, and that all goes into that question or that conversation they have with people, right? It's like, how much can I provide to this conversation? Because someone else is talking about money and I don't clearly have as much value as they have in terms of the dollar. But that's not even how that fucking works. You know, you're not worth less because you don't have as much. You're just probably not asking some questions that you could be asking.
And
you know?
when you keep your mouth shut and you don't ask questions, you're depriving yourself of your own potential.
Well, they say closed mouths don't get fed.
That's right.
Kind of thing. You know?
Scream, baby. Yeah.
You know.
No, man. Ask the questions. I tell everybody, like, there's a lot of artists. I don't want to call them gatekeepers. So that's not fair. I don't think that's a fair term. But, like, there's artists who don't want to give all the information away. Yeah. They want to. If you want to learn from me, pay me money. because they value their own knowledge. I'm the opposite of that. If you ask me a question, I'll tell you all the answers. I'll show you. I'll teach you right there on the spot for free because I don't want to be a gatekeeper. All the stuff I've gotten in my life is from asking questions and people answering them to me without me having to pay them. Unless I did an educational or a seminar or something, which is different.
Yeah.
But like, if I sit down next to Kyle Carterman and I go, hey man, how'd you do that? And he answers me, dude, that's gold to me. And then you taught me that. Now somebody else asks me, I'm going to teach them that. It's not, I'm not going to be like, man, you want to learn, you got to pay me that $1,000 seminar fee. So
So where do you think seminars fit in with that and that moral perspective? Because obviously I think that you've learned a lot from going to like different seminars and shit, right?
Yeah.
So where does that sit with you?
I think seminars are amazing because there's a lot of artists who can't, they're maybe introverts, little things like that, where they can't just go walk up to some random dude. If I was at a convention and Nico Hurtado sitting there tattooing, I'm not going to open my mouth. I'm going to shut the fuck up because dude, he probably just gets bombed everywhere he goes. And I already know I'm not going to be like, hey man, how'd you do that? He's going to be like, oh fuck. For the 40th time today, you know what I mean? That's not fair to him. But like, so if he puts on a seminar, I'm going. Yeah. I want to learn from that dude. You did a seminar, and I was so disappointed. I wanted to go, and I was like, I can't. Like, it was too short notice for me, and I was like, I wanted to be there because I do want to learn black and gray better. So it was like seminars are amazing, but then you have your circle of people. If I just stopped in your shop one day and you're working on a piece, and I'm like, poke my head over, hey man, what are you doing? And I'm like, dude, how the fuck did you get that light source? Like, how'd you do that? Did you create this image? And you start answering me, dude, that's amazing. Like that's what I hope for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then you've got some people, I've done this where I'll walk up and they'll see me and realize I'm a tattooer and they go, and they start hiding it. They'll put themselves in front of their piece and be like, don't fucking watch me, man.
Yeah.
And sorry if I'm outside of the microphone.
That shit's weird to me.
Yeah. But I get it because they probably spent all their life scraping that knowledge out of people. And it's like, dude, this knowledge is so valuable to me. I ain't giving it to you for free. And I get the logic. I just don't feel the same way. Yeah. So, I would do a seminar for somebody. I would charge money. Yeah. My knowledge is valuable. And if you feel it's valuable, pay me money.
I think there's levels to it, and like what you're saying, if like Tyler Bowling, he's watched me for hours on end, but it wasn't necessarily me taking on like a mentorship kind of role. It was me answering some questions and then him just watching. Fuck yeah, dude, hang out. Yeah. I get to work on my piece. I'm still, but if I'm now taking set time to walk you through a long process to really analyze your situation and make tweaks to your process to help you develop systems, really slowing down to pour in versus just a couple questions.
Right.
I think that's where that dollar starts to come in. And then obviously mentor long-term, like apprenticing and long-term stuff. Long-term stuff like that, you're really pouring in over periods of time. So there's definitely levels to it. But yeah, I definitely treat others how I want to be treated. And if I walk up to someone who's fucking killing it and I got a question, like I hope they would answer it. Right. And in that situation for sure. Even with content on social media, like put out free the Gary V is like the fucking king of free content. But he's not necessarily catering to you specific. Now, if you went to him to get more in depth on one specific, because like a piece of content is like an umbrella term, like it can be applied to many different things.
And how you have interpret it.
Take bits and pieces, apply this to here, that. But if he was to really like, okay, stop, tell me about your situation, right, and now dive into and now make specific tweaks, yeah, that's when he's going to be like, okay, here's my fucking hourly rate, here's how much time we can spend. Pay me for what I'm really, because I'm directly affecting situations you have
and
going
my knowledge is valuable to that level. Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of, I'm gonna jump subjects, kind of.
Yeah, man.
Do you know Jesse Smith?
Yeah,
dude is insanely amazing. I've been watching that guy since I can remember tattooing. I got to see him at Evergreen one year, and I've always wanted to get tattooed by him, but I don't think I have enough room for him to be comfortable because I got a bunch of shitty work on me, and I wouldn't ask him to do a cover up. Anyway, I walk up to him, he's tattooing, and he looks up, he sees me, he knows I'm a tattooer, and he goes, "Hey man, what's going on?" And I was immediately like, yes, this dude's not a dick. You know what I mean? It was so great. And so I talked to him for a few seconds, but I tried not to interrupt because he was tattooing, and then he put his machine down to take a break. And I was like, oh, cool, maybe he actually wants to talk to me. So I said, man, I love your shit. I just, I don't want to fanboy out or nothing crazy, but I loved your shit for forever. And it just amazes me how you can get that stuff out of your head onto skin. So it's like 2 different levels of talent. Getting it from here into reality, then from reality to skin takes 2 different things. And he responds with, man, you should see what I can't get out of my head. And I went, oh shit.
Fuck.
I never even thought of that. Like, because his shit's so crazy. And like, how did you even come up with that? And then the shit that he can't get from here to here, I'm like, oh God, this dude's in another dimension. Like, holy crap. That level of insane creativity blows my mind.
Yeah, then that's a big struggle for me, is like the really being real. Like, if you give me a general concept, I can run with it. But trying to muster up concepts from my own, that's tough for me.
Yeah.
Unless if I find a good reference, now I can run with it. Or if I find a piece that I can take and manipulate or add to or build off of, boom. But if I got to sit down, scratch, and write out a full theme, it's tough, you know.
It is. And being original is hard, man. Like the world we live in this day, the internet, even AI. Like, because I don't know if you use it, but I use AI. I try not to use anything that I can tell is like created by another artist. I try to use things that like an animal or a human face is involved, stuff like that. But using the AI is even hard to be original, because in your head, you're like, well, I got to give this thing prompts. How do I give it prompts that don't already exist in shit? Like woman's face covered in honey. Or whatever. Right. Like, that's been done. How do you be original?
Yeah.
And it's funny because we were just talking about this the other day. There's an additional layer to AI where it's like this new age, like Pinterest AI shit. So it's like you can tell it's been AI'd, but the person that's using it for their reference or their design didn't AI it themselves. It's AI that they got off of Pinterest. So it's the secondhand AI shit,
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of that, actually.
Yeah.
It's really frustrating because I got clients that bring that to me now. They'll be like, I want this Alice in Wonderland piece, and it's this AI created collage of Alice in Wonderland shit with a flower, or 5. And I'm just like, that's a disaster. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I get that you think it's cool and creative, but tattooing this is not going to happen.
Yeah, like maybe print it and put it in a picture frame or something.
Yeah, like let's make a poster that's 18 feet tall. That's what you're going to need to get this into.
Just send it my way. I'll do the print.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah, but man, I love that tattooing is so creative and original, but it's so hard to be unique. It really is. With yours, you do a lot of like realism style. So or maybe a lot of surrealism. I don't know what you would classify it as.
I feel like it kind of bounces back and forth. That's kind of what we've talked about a lot. But a lot of times I'll take a realistic photo, but then I'll do other shit to it that kind of takes it into that surrealism realm.
Like doing a skull, like in the cosmos kind of deal. Yeah. So it's like clearly I can tell it's a skull, but it's got like stars and galaxies and shit. Clearly you don't see that in reality, but I can see what it is. Yeah, right. That
would be surrealism. Putting things into categories is hard, but
it's hard for me too.
Sometimes it's kind of necessary because you want to educate your client to what are you asking me for?
Right.
Do you want a photo of your grandma that you have hanging on your wall and you want that tattoo on your leg? I can do that. Or do you want to take grandma's face and put it next to a bear, you know what I'm saying, that's eating a rabbit or some shit, something that doesn't exist in real life but looks like it could. Yeah. Like you say with the cosmos and a skull. You don't see skulls just with sky behind it, but I can make that happen for you.
But it looks cool.
Right. And see, for me, even when I was just sitting here explaining it to you, I'm like, I think I'm explaining this right.
Right.
But Tim, he's the genre whore, like he mentioned earlier.
Right.
So for him, he's like, well, what would you consider? I'm like, I don't know. I'm just.
He's like, I just do it.
I don't know.
It's cool shit.
Right.
Yeah. That's.
And I appreciate tattoos for that, because I think. We just talked about this not too long too, is like we're getting this whole like influx of students and stuff, like actual art students have been in school and shit for a long time.
Educated art students.
Yes. Yeah. And they're starting to put like their own actual, like, I guess call it the real spin on tattoos. I feel like a lot of old heads would be mad at me even saying that because like they've got their ways they've been doing for a long time and they've been doing right.
Do you know how long I've been tattooing?
We haven't asked you that yet. How long?
25 years.
Fuck
since
yeah.
1999.
Congrats, man. That's the.
So I would be classified as an old head.
4 years longer than I've been alive.
Yeah.
Right.
Fuck. Yeah. Shut up, man.
Yeah. But
I just dated myself. But
right.
No, but I say that because you said old heads, and I was like, technically, I would be classified as one, but I don't think like that at all.
Yeah.
I'm not like the yogi and the fucking.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not into
There's
that.
extremes, right?
Yeah,
And I
definitely
think
some
it's cool that
extremes.
you're like in the kind of in between.
I'm always learning, and I like improving. I like seeing new perspectives, so I'm not into that whole. It's got to be this way because I said so.
Yeah.
I was taught this way. That's the way life is now. No, fuck that, dude. It's been 25 years.
Yeah,
We're
things
on a
change.
whole new level of world.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
We had the hour and a half already.
Yeah, we did.
Man, time
Man, that's
flies,
crazy.
bro. Yeah.
Good ass talk.
I didn't
time
touch
flies.
any. I had some notes written down. I wanted to touch on. I didn't touch on any of that shit.
man.
Yeah, that's why I called Tim earlier. I was like, man, were we going to game plan or anything? He's like, no, we're just going to wing it. Yeah, I think that's the funnest. It's the most organic.
Right.
Plus, I know you obviously. What's the dates for Cyan?
March 1st, 2nd, 3rd.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And I know obviously running shows got you hella busy, but dude, if we have any opportunity to get your time for just a little bit during that show, that would be awesome to.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's the beauty of it is I basically, the last show, I just kind of walked around.
Yeah.
My feet hurt for 3 weeks afterwards. So this year, I have a scooter. I'm gonna be Troy Temple.
That's
Ning,
dope.
ning, ning.
That's
Who does that? There's someone
Troy.
that's
Troy Temple.
Oh,
Yeah, he's the owner
Yes.
of Villain Arts.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. He did every show. He's got this little fucking scooter and he just zooms all over the place. And I was watching him do it. And I was like, I wonder why he does that. Like, is it because it's just he does it every weekend? Then I hosted my own show. And I said, that's fucking why he does it. Because, dude, I wore comfortable shoes and everything. I was sore for 3. I was like, dude, I need to sit down.
Yeah.
I can't stand on my feet. It hurts so bad.
Oh, dude, I saw you everywhere.
Yeah.
You was all over that bitch
Dude,
last time.
I was making sure everybody was happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to check on your artists, make sure everybody's doing good. Because if you need anything, I'll fucking get it. I run a show, but I'm not fucking special. I'm not awesome. I'm not above anybody. What do you need? You need a sandwich? I got you. I'll run a Burger King for you. You know what I mean? I did that with Evergreen when I went up there for my first time ever. I showed up 4 days early and I was like, what do you need me to do? Because it was when they were in like their second year. And I was like, I'll go get food. I'll fucking set up. I'm a grunt. Use me. And that was like, they said, dude, nobody does that. Everybody shows up with like an entourage now. And they look at me. I'm on Ink Master. I'm fucking special. And I don't agree with that. So I appreciate those artists that show up to help.
Yeah.
And they're genuine, you know? So I was like, did I own a studio? I ain't fucking special. I don't know.
Well, that's valued, man. It's very much appreciated. And obviously, I think everyone that meets you can tell. We heard so many good things about you just from Dylan, and obviously being in the Dayton community and whatnot. People know you, and it's
a sweetheart.
Yeah. But dude, yeah, anyone that's listening to this, if you're in the area or maybe you're fucking not, you're gonna come out to little Dayton area.
It's worth it.
Yeah. It's gonna be an awesome fucking show. There's a lot of hard hitters last year. The competitions were dope. We had fucking Zach Perry and
Zach Perry. I never even heard of him before my show. Holy shit, that guy.
They did that mix up piece
Jordy
last
Alejandro. You're talking about Antoine Davis.
Yes, Antoine Davis is a bad motherfucker.
Jordy, he was on Ink Master. Jordy's amazing. His work, he does that crazy surrealism that you're like, where the fuck did you even come up with that?
Right.
Oh, and it's awesome. It's like well executed. I never even
until you see the shit that he can't get out of his head, right?
Yeah, right. It's like I wish you could. There will be a day, I guarantee, where they can stick something on our heads and pull our visions right up on a board, and we're gonna be like, "Fuck! I was thinking of that. That's what I was trying to get on paper all this time."
Right.
It's gonna happen one day, and I'm gonna go pay a visit to Jesse Smith and be like, "We can do it now, man. Let's see it."
We got somewhere to go real quick.
Yeah.
Right. But March 1st through the 3rd, that's Friday through Sunday, right?
Yeah, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Dayton, Ohio. Of course, I don't know if
you
we
said
mentioned
the Montgomery County Fairgrounds.
Yeah, it's called the Fairgrounds of Montgomery County.
Gotcha.
And it's over on Infirmary Road, which is the new buildings, whereas a lot of people who are from Dayton still think it's by the Valley Hospital
Street and the hospital.
So, and we do have some hotel blocks available. Like all that stuff's going to be posted. Right now, I'm letting all the artists have first dibs, so they get locked if they need a hotel, and then we're going to make it public for whatever we have left over.
Okay. And where's the best place to just find out about the show?
The CyanTattoo.com.
Okay.
So Cyan is CYAN, CYAN.tattoo.com. And Instagram is where I usually post most everything from Instagram. It goes to Facebook. We don't have a TikTok or any of that yet. Dude, it's hard to maintain social media. I need a copy of you.
Right, I need a Tim.
Yeah.
That joke, dude.
Yeah,
it's long, but I'll have all the links and stuff to that below so they can check all that shit out. But Yeah, dude, it's gonna be a fucking hard hitting show. It was wonderful the last time we went.
Thank you,
killed
man.
it, and
Believe it or not, I'll give this information. Cyan, the first year we lost money, like a lot of money.
Yeah, no, I believe it, man.
Yeah,
COVID, fucking motherfucker.
well, so I had a full plan. So I went to Riley and Josh from Evergreen. They're the owners of Evergreen, and for 2 years in a row, I was driving them crazy, asking them all the questions I could get. So I was like, "What can I do to make sure my show runs successful?" And they gave me a bunch. They gave me a map. Riley literally drew a map of like, this is what you got to do. So I started executing, and then COVID hit and fucked everything up and lost money. Now I had to pay out of my pocket on money. My partner had to come out a bunch of money out of his pocket. And then we ran a great show, which we both realized if somebody walked up to us and was like, "Hey man, you give me $15,000 out of your pocket, but you're going to get this amazing feeling as a result of that money." I'd be like, "Here you go. You want 30,000? Because I'll do that all over again tomorrow." Because we both realized, dude, we lost a lot of money, but it was fucking worth it. You know what I mean? That's why this year, we're not losing money.
No.
This year, COVID didn't screw us up. All the budget's sitting right there. Everything made sense. We're not going to go over. We're trying to just go at zero at the door. Like, I don't know if you've ever tried to consider doing a convention.
Look,
But no, it is complicated. But like, if you're zero at the door, which means all the money that people pay for their booth rent, all the advertising money, like you get a sponsorship, all that money funds the show. The money that way, you're not trying to make a profit off the artists. I don't want to do that shit. I want the show to happen because of the artists, and then when the doors open, that's when we start making money. You know what I mean? If you're at zero at the door, every time somebody walks in that door, it's like, thank God we made $20. We made $20. That's where, not giving away any of his secrets, he's usually pretty public, but Troy makes all of his money. He gets 15,000 people a show in a weekend, $20 a pop, or more. That's fucking 6 figures and then some in 3 days.
Yeah.
And I feel like you could just actually be excited to talk to someone at the show or to see somebody at the show versus like, oh, there's not enough of you yet or whatever. You know,
Oh, right,
you just see somebody and there's no other thought you have than just like excited to see you.
Yeah.
Stoked
Thank
to
you
see
for
you.
coming. I
Right.
appreciate you, and I hope you have a great time. Yeah, that's right. Whereas, like, damn, you didn't bring 30 friends with you, man? Come on.
Right.
That's how I was feeling all last show. Everybody said they had a great time, and I got great feedback. Not one person complained last show, and I was super pumped because I was so worried. I was like, there's not enough people in this building. Like, I need these artists busy, and I feel bad when like there's a couple artists I saw that didn't tattoo, like hardly at all.
Yeah.
They were local though, so I almost was kind of like, damn, you didn't tattoo. You ain't got 4 customers you can get in the door here.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, damn.
Yeah.
But no, this year I think it'll be way better. We've got this kind of stuff happening a lot more. It's the second year. It's in March. It's at the end of Cabin Fever. You know what I mean?
Right.
March 1st is like, dude, I'm waiting to get out of my goddamn
Yeah.
house. So
Yeah.
I'm excited about it. I think,
Yeah,
I was
it'll be
nervous
fun.
last year. This year I'm excited. I'm like, this is going to be the year.
Awesome.
And then every
man.
year after, of course.
Yeah,
Hell
it's
yeah.
good stuff, man. I know we're excited to attend it. The artists that are going from the studio, they're pumped on it. Yeah. So, what do you think? You want to jump into the Patreon?
Yeah, let me do some closing stuff. The boring good old. You guys, of course, you can find all the links to Josh's stuff. Real quick, where can they find you and your shop at on Instagram? You know,
Like the Instagram for the studio is Modified Skin Tattoos.
Yeah. What about yours?
Mine is at Josh Wiley Art.
Nice.
awesome.
Yeah.
And
If you're going to throw links, or I don't know what you do. I don't see a lot of graphics on your guys' stuff. You don't put it on the actual video.
Nah, it'll probably be in the caption below, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, just in the description below. So check all that out. Of course, as always, you can find our stuff below. I think this is like 13 episodes in or 14, so you guys should be able to know where our shit's at by now. But really appreciate you having you on the show. You know, driving out to see us. The weather's not great outside right now, and
It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, thank God. But no, thank you
Right.
guys for having me. Seriously.
absolutely. And
I was pumped. I've been thinking about this all month. I've been like, yeah, it's going to be fun. I've never done this before.
fuck yeah,
It's
man.
exciting.
That's cool. We've gotten really good responses so far, and I feel like the people we brought on have just had so much value for the show. And
Yeah.
of course, there was some things that we didn't get to touch on, but without further ado, appreciate you guys for showing up to another episode of More Than Tattoos, and we'll catch you at the next episode. Peace.